I heard it through the bathroom door. Not meant for my ears, of course. They thought I was asleep, exhausted from the chemo, knocked out by the pills. But my body had other plans that night, and there I stood in the hallway at 11:47 p.m., one hand on the wall for balance, when Derek's voice cut through the air like a blade. "I can't do this anymore, Jenna. Your mother is a burden. A financial black hole." The word hung there. Burden. I'd written him a check for $43,000 just 6 weeks earlier. Let me rewind. Let me show you exactly how generous a burden can be. 3 years ago, Derek and Jenna's dream wedding. $28,000. I paid for the venue, the flowers, the open bar where Derek's college friends got drunk enough to break a ice sculpture. "Mom will pay you back," Jenna promised. I waved it off. What's money compared to your daughter's happiness? 2 years ago, their first house. Down payment? $65,000. From my retirement fund. "Just a loan, Carol," Derek said, gripping my hand with those earnest eyes. "We'll have it back to you in 5 years maximum." I signed the check. They signed nothing. 18 months ago, Derek's business opportunity. A food truck. Gourmet tacos. He had a whole pitch deck. "This is it, Carol. This is our ticket. $22,000 for the truck, equipment, permits." I watched him practice his elevator pitch in my living room. I believed in him. The truck lasted 7 months. Last year, Jenna's emergency appendectomy. Their insurance was between policies, which meant Derek had let it lapse to save money. Medical bills, $31,000. I paid it in 3 installments, watching my savings account shrink like a dying star. 6 weeks ago, the roof. Their roof. Apparently there was water damage and it couldn't wait. "Mom, we're drowning here." $43,000. I liquidated a CD early, took the penalty, and handed them a check at their kitchen table while their new espresso machine, $800 gleaming chrome, steamed in the corner. Total, $189,000. And I'd never asked for a penny back. Not once. But that night, standing in their hallway in my nightgown, gripping the wall as the room spun slightly, I finally heard the truth. "She just keeps inserting herself into our lives," Derek continued. "Always with that sad look like we owe her something." My daughter's voice came next. Softer. "Kitten. Derek, she's sick. The cancer. The cancer is her golden ticket, Jen. Don't you see? She gets to play the martyr while we play nurse. And when she's gone, we're stuck with, what? Medical debt. Funeral costs. That house of hers is mortgaged to hell." Shuino. The house was paid off. $740,000 in current market value. But I didn't correct him through the door. "She could live another 10 years, he said. 15 even. And every single one of those years she'll be our responsibility. Our burden." There was again. That word. I turned and walked back to the guest room, their guest room in the house I'd helped them buy, and I did not sleep. Instead, I opened my laptop and I made a phone call that would wait until morning. To my lawyer. The morning after. I came down to breakfast like nothing had happened. "Morning, Mom. How'd you sleep?" Jenna's smile was bright, practiced. She'd made me oatmeal with blueberries the way I like it. Derek sat across from me, scrolling his phone, barely looking up. "Carol." Just my name. Not even good morning. I wondered how long he'd been this contemptuous. How many other conversations I'd missed. "Sleep well, Derek?" I asked, sweetening my coffee. "Fine." He didn't even blink. I ate my oatmeal slowly. I studied my daughter. Her father's eyes, my stubborn chin. I'd carried her for 9 months. I'd raised her alone after Tom died. I'd worked 2 jobs to put her through college. And somewhere along the way she'd learned to look away when her husband was cruel. "I have an appointment today," I said. "With Richard." "Richard?" Jenna looked up from her own phone. "My lawyer. Just updating some paperwork." Derek's eyes finally met mine. Just for a second. A flicker of something. Interest? Concern? "Boring stuff," I added. "You know how it is." Richard Chin had been my lawyer for 23 years. He'd handled Tom's estate. He'd written my will. He knew every asset I had, every debt I didn't. "Carol," he said, closing the door to his office, "talk to me." I told him everything. The money. The overhead conversation. The word burden, and how it had burned itself into my chest. When I finished, Richard leaned back in his chair and did something I didn't expect. He smiled. I was wondering when you'd wake up, he said. Plan. We worked for 3 hours. Asset inventory. House. $740,000 paid off. Retirement accounts. $380,000 after my generous gifts. Life insurance. $500,000 policy savings and investments. $127,000 Tom's pension survivor benefits. $2,400 per month for life. Total estate value. Approximately $1.75 million. Not bad for a burden. Here's what I recommend, Richard said, sliding a legal pad across his desk. We rewrite everything. New will. New beneficiaries. New power of attorney. Who? I asked. Your niece, Sarah. Your college roommate, Patricia. The Cancer Research Foundation you've donated to. Anyone but Derek and Jenna. I felt something crack open in my chest. Relief? Grief? Will they contest it? Let them try. You're of sound mind. We'll document everything, your capacity, your reasoning. And Carol? He leaned forward. We're going to write them a letter. To be opened after you're gone. Explaining exactly why. The letter. I wrote it that afternoon in Richard's office. 17 pages, single-spaced. Every check. Every broken promise. Every time Derek rolled his eyes or Jenna looked away. And the conversation. Word for word. Your mother is a burden. A financial black hole. I included the date. The time. The exact spot where I stood in the hallway. Richard read it when I finished. When he looked up, his eyes were wet. This, he said, is a masterpiece of quiet devastation. We sealed it. Dated it. Notarized it. And then we did something beautiful. We created a trust. A medical trust, funded immediately with $200,000 to cover my cancer treatment for the rest of my life. Managed by Sarah. Untouchable by Derek and Jenna. No more asking them for help. No more being their burden. Moving out. I told them over dinner 2 nights later. I've decided to move into a senior living community. Jenna's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. What? Mom, no. It's already done. I've put a deposit on a beautiful apartment at Riverside Meadows. Independent living but with nursing care available if I need it. You can't afford that, Derek said flatly. I smiled at him. Really smiled. Actually, I can. I've set up a medical trust. Everything's handled. A trust. His face did something complicated. What do you mean, a trust? It means I'm taken care of. You two don't need to worry about me anymore. Mom. Jenna reached for my hand. You don't have to do this. We want you here. Did she? Did she really? I appreciate that, sweetheart. But I think this is best. For everyone. Derek was staring at me like he was doing math in his head. Calculating. Always calculating. What about? I mean, have you updated your estate planning? With the trust and everything? And there was the question he'd been dying to ask. Oh yes, I said lightly. Richard and I took care of everything. It's all sorted. I didn't tell him how it was sorted. I just let him wonder. The new life. Riverside Meadows was perfect. A 2-bedroom apartment with a balcony overlooking actual trees. A community of people my age who played bridge and argued about politics and didn't call me a burden. A nursing staff who knew my medications and my good days and my bad days. I thrived. The chemo was working. My energy came back. I started painting again. Watercolors, mostly scenes of gardens and birds. I made friends. I laughed at dinner parties. I woke up without dread in my chest. And every 2 weeks, like clockwork, Jenna would call. Mom, how are you? Do you need anything? I'm wonderful, honey. We'd love to visit. Bring you dinner. Oh, I'm pretty booked up. Bridge tournament this week. Derek never called. Not once. The change in Jenna. But something was shifting in my daughter. 6 months after I moved out, she showed up unannounced. Alone. Mom, can we talk? We sat on my balcony. I made tea. I waited. Derek and I are having problems, she finally said. I'm sorry to hear that. He's angry all the time. About money. About the house. She stopped. Mom, did something happen? Between you two? This was the moment. I could tell her. I could unload everything. Instead I asked, what do you think happened? She looked at her hands. He keeps asking about your will. About the trust. About what you've done with the money. He's obsessed. And what do you think about that? Her eyes met mine. And for the first time in years I saw her. My daughter. Not Derek's wife. Not the woman who looked away. I think, she said slowly, that I married someone who cares more about your money than your life. The reconciliation or not. They divorced 8 months later. Derek fought for the house. Her mother paid for it, he argued. The judge was unimpressed. They split it. Derek walked away with his share and I heard through Jenna, immediately bought a boat. A boat. Jenna moved into a modest condo. Got a better job. Started therapy. Called me every Sunday. Mom, she said one day, I owe you an apology. For what? For not seeing. For not protecting you. From him. I squeezed her hand. Easy now. That's what matters. Will you ever forgive me? Jenna, I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second. We cried together on my balcony and something old and poisoned finally drained away. Years later. I'm writing this from that same balcony. It's been 4 years since the divorce. 3 years since my last chemo. 2 years since the doctors used the word remission. I'm 71 years old. I paint every morning. I play bridge every Tuesday. I volunteer at the cancer center on Thursdays. And I changed my will. Richard called me in last month. Are you sure about this? I'm sure. Because Jenna earned it. She showed up. She apologized. She grew. She'll inherit the house fund I set aside. $400,000. Sarah will get $300,000 for her loyalty. The Cancer Research Foundation gets $200,000. Patricia gets my jewelry and my art collection. And Derek? Derek gets the letter. 17 pages explaining exactly what he lost. Exactly what he threw away when he called a woman who loved him, who funded him, a burden. The letter ends with a simple line. I hope the boat was worth it. The lesson. Here's what I learned. You can't buy love. You can't buy respect. And you definitely can't buy your way out of being called a burden. But you can take back your power. You can stop letting cruelty live in your bank account. You can choose who deserves your generosity and who deserves your silence. I was never a burden. I was a blessing that Derek was too small to recognize. And in the end, I didn't need revenge. I just needed to stop setting myself on fire to keep him warm.